Hello, my name is Nicole, and thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. Today, I titled this message, The Mature Mind. The Mature Mind. Those who are in a relationship or connected with someone on a daily basis that is older than you, please do take heed to this message. The mature mind. These individuals have been on this planet for quite some time that I'm speaking of. They are your elders, your seniors. They are probably at least 15 to 20 plus years older than you are. These are people who have been through many fires. They have had their share of disappointments, but for some of them, they have just survived through it all, mentally, physically, and spiritually. And they have arrived to a place in their life where they can give back, where they can teach others. They can be that beacon of light to see the young people through many, many storms. But others, the mature-minded, they have much knowledge. They have done many things, but whether they learn from their life lessons, well, that remains to be known. Because some individuals still continue to make the same mistakes. They continue to treat wives, girlfriends, husbands, boyfriends in the same way that they treated them many, many years ago. They don't have the best relationships with their family members or their friends or their sons or daughters. They are stubborn, they're prideful, they don't have a good relationship with even God. Lots going on, okay? And some of these individuals who are connected to the mature-minded don't always see the writing on the wall. They don't always listen to witnesses who warn them that that person's not right. You shouldn't be around him. He's too old for you. She's too old for you. This person has a lot of baggage. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. You see, the naive, the gullible, they will get connected with some folks and not realize what they're getting connected with. And that's where I'm going to be today on that particular subject matter. Being led into something with a mature-minded person and not recognizing the consequences. What's sad, though, is when the mature person, whether they're a believer or not, when they know what's around the corner, but they don't inform you. When they see that you are not falling for their lies, for their exaggerations, for their storytelling, that you no longer esteem them as being anything special. They know that sooner or later the relationship or the connection, partnership, what have you, is coming to an end. And yet they won't step up to the plate and say, I messed up. I apologize. I shouldn't have connected with you. You know, we don't really see eye to eye. We don't have similar goals or dreams. I'm in a different place right now. I know that this hurts you, but I've got to go on. You know, it's just sad, because when you are that one that has knowledge, when you have had many experiences, when you see that a immature person or younger person doesn't really see what is taking place. They don't see the dynamics of the relationship, the connection, the partnership, whatever. They don't see that it's coming to an end. They don't see the writing on the wall, but yet you don't say anything. Lord Jesus. God is holding many mature-minded folks accountable for many things because they know better. I even have a playlist that talks about, for the Christians who know better. They're being rebuked. They're being corrected on those audios because they know things. You see, they're unlike the ignorant person who, I don't know. I've never been here before. I don't know. I've never experienced this. No, these folks do know. They know when they're getting involved with a immature person, with a person that may not be as knowledgeable in life experience. They know what they're getting themselves into. They know how they can play some folks. Okay. how they can do a number on some people. And yet they will go so far as to blame people that they're involved with and say, well, she should have known how I was, or he should have known that I didn't want to be with him anymore. I mean, look at our age difference. Okay. The mature-minded, very knowledgeable, has a lot of life experience, been around the block a few too many times, doesn't mind using the gullible, the naive, the young, and the restless, as well as the young and the selfish. I have audio about that. They don't mind taking advantage of these folks because they know more than them, simply put. So if I know more than what you know about a person, a place, or a thing, and I know that I can be able to manipulate you, to persuade you, to trick you, to get you to do some things, and my intentions are not good, I'm a wicked person, I'm going to do that. That's how some of these mature-minded folks reason. Oh, she'll learn sooner or later. Oh, who cares? He knew what he was getting himself into. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Because one thing about it, a lot of these folks will leave out certain information that they know is unflattering, that will cause a person to make a different decision. They will leave that information out and then slowly give some truth, maybe not all, about something. And then, oh, well, it's on you if you stay or if you go. I remember something like this was done to me. I was 21. The man was 31. Those of you all who are familiar with Laboring to Love an Abusive Mate, a young woman's diary to stay or go, a 21-year-old woman's diary to stay or go. Those of you all who are familiar with that book, I take you through a lot of what I was going through at that particular time through the poetry, because that was my release. Okay. And there were times where when I look back on those poems, I seen where I was very gullible. I was very naive. He would tell me one thing and I would believe it. Okay. He knew what he was doing, though, when he was telling me what he was telling me. Only a little bit of information, just enough to bring me into his messed up mindset. Enough to convince me, well, he must be reasonably sane. Only to later find out that he was not all that sane. When he got angry, he was definitely out there. So I tell you, let's say that I got a weakness, and I'm going to take some of his words. And, that is that I tend to get real angry at, every woman that I'm involved with, and there wasn't a time that I didn't put my hands on them during my anger. Okay. You got part of the story. You didn't need all the other details, but you got part of the story that this man, he got a nutty side. He got a dark side, right? But to that one that doesn't really want to believe, doesn't feel like it's that bad, to that one that thinks that he or she can help someone, they're going to overlook something that is right in their face. Now, let's say that the individual doesn't give you that much information. They just simply say, well, I get angry sometimes, right? He knows how he is. He knows that he gets angry sometimes to the point where he rages, where he goes off, but he chooses not to say anything about that. Why? Because he doesn't want you to get any type of negative impression. The last relationship. Let's talk about a woman, okay? Her last relationship, she was very quiet, very boring, very dull, okay? She was often working. She really didn't contribute too much emotionally and a lot of times physically to her partner. So she gets into a new dating relationship. And the guy says, well, how did you break up, in your last relationship, blah, blah, blah. And she says something like, well, we just didn't see eye to eye. That doesn't tell you too much of anything, right? She's not going to, once again, put herself in a negative light. And if she's talking to a young guy and she's older, okay, she is not going to say every little thing because she wants that young man and she knows what's going to turn him off. He don't want to hear the baggage. He don't want to be caught up in the drama. He wants to have a good time. So she's got to make herself be fun and interesting and good, and not necessarily like the young women who are immature, but not like one of them old, dull, boring women, right? Which she is. That's who she really is. But she doesn't want to show that side to that man. Okay? The mature-minded, they think beyond the scope of what they are saying if it means that it's going to somehow cast them in a negative light. I've got to say just enough information to lure you in, to keep you around, but not too much, because if I do, then that's going to push you away and you're going to go somewhere else. Okay? The mature-minded individual with much life experience is not looking at the conversation. Come on now, listen to me, young people. He is not giving you the kind of he's not looking at the conversation in the way that you look at the conversation. Okay? He is not going to just pay attention to the surface details. He's going to think, what is this information that she's providing going to help me with? Is it going to help me get closer to her? Is it going to help me get into bed with her? Is it going to help me use her to get some of my work done? Is she going to be a benefit to me if I should want children? You see, he's thinking beyond that general, frivolous, you might think meaningless conversation, and he's orchestrating a plan that hopefully he's going to come out a winner. It's not going to be so much in the best interest of both of you. It's going to be him first, and if you happen to benefit, then so be it. Okay? I didn't catch hold to these sorts of things back when I was in my 20s. I would just talk about myself, ask him some questions, and go out and have a good old time with these folks. Okay? These were older individuals. And for some of you all who are familiar with my blog, tipsdatingoldermen.blogspot.com, I pull out a lot of the dirt as well as the good stuff about these individuals, because I want these young ladies not to be blindsided by the slick folks that are out there, by the dirty daddies, so to speak, okay? By some of these so-called sugar daddies and pimps and players and hustlers. If you know enough about the game, you most likely will not participate in the game. Or if you are already in the game, hopefully you'll be able to get out based on all of the stuff that you have experienced and seen and don't want to go through any longer. Okay. But the games that some of these people play, they don't really think of it in terms of a game. They think, this is who I am. This is how I do things. But they've been playing the game so long that it has become a part of them. Okay. Another thing that mature-minded individuals do, beyond thinking about, what it is that they can benefit from based on the information that you provide, they also look at what they have to give to someone else. And usually if they know they don't have much to give, like I said earlier, they're not going to tell you all the details. They're not going to tell you that, no, I didn't have much to give in the last relationship and I don't have much to give to you either. And that is so just wrong. To know that you have some serious problems, but yet you blame your issues on other people. To know that you've got some deep, dark stuff going on with you, but you never want to get any type of counseling. You never want to delve deep and, really do some work on yourself. You rather jump into a relationship with folks, deceive them, act as if you are a good guy or great gal. And the reality is that you know you're not that. Wouldn't it make sense just to be by yourself? Wouldn't it make sense not to have babies, with someone if you know that, let's say you come from a family line of mental illness? You see? Mature-minded people know a lot about themselves. They've been through many relationships. They've had sometimes children. They have made some really bad decisions with business and so forth. So they know a lot about themselves. And for them to act as if, oh no, I don't have this going on and that going on, it's going to be up to the one who may not be as experienced, as knowledgeable, to figure out whether that's a person they even want to be involved with. Because you will see and you will feel some things that's not right. You will know when you're being lied to, when you're being played like a fiddle, when you're being used. But what we tend to do, and I say we because I've done it, what we tend to do is we convince ourselves that what we see isn't what we really see, and that this person surely is not doing this to me. They're really not lying. They're really not covering up anything. They really don't have any secrets. Please, Lord, please say it ain't so. And God, as much as he would love to say that, he will show us over and over again through all sorts of ways that, he's back to his dirty tricks again, or she's not right, or you're being played again. You've already been down this path before. Remember this person? Well, the reason why you're attracted to this person is because of what you experienced back in the day. You see? So be one step ahead of the game. You see, understand that those that are older than you, they know how to play a game or two when they want something. OK, I go over a lot of the tactics and tell me, mother, you're sorry. I go over a lot of the tactics from a spiritual perspective with critical types of folks in Know Your Enemy, the Christian's Critic. I tackle this subject when it comes to, having a toxic tie with a father, or a father-like figure, and say goodbye to dad. The theme is there in each one of those books, that the mature-minded individual, whether they are spiritual or unspiritual, whether they are good for you or not, they know a lot, and they will use what they know to get what they want. Okay, if you are not on to them, if you don't see flaws, if you don't see, the truth, if you don't want to hear the truth, sometimes they are very bold. They're very open about the things that they say and they do. And if you don't want to see it for what it is, then you end up getting hurt sooner or later. Because if I tell you this is who I am, this is what I expect, this is where I come from, and you don't like that, okay, then you'll walk away, right? Or you'll say, nope, I don't agree with that. That's the difference between a mature person and an immature one. The immature one will go, okay, well, it's all right. It's okay, but this is going to hurt you. Yeah, I'm along for the ride. What? Are you sure? I can't commit to you. I can't give you. I can't hook you up, but this is what I want. It's all right. Okay. And you see a mature-minded individual that's been around for a long time, they're going to say, well, if this is how she is, she all right with it, then I guess it's okay then. And they'll take advantage. And then when it starts hurting you so bad, whatever that thing is that you settled for or dealt with, or it's okay, when it starts hurting you so bad, then you'll say, okay, I can't deal with this anymore. And it's going to come out in screaming and yelling and silent treatment and attitudes and popping off and all of that, because you agree to be with that individual, to partner with them, to, talk to them, to befriend them, to bet them, whatever. And you're not getting your needs met through the process. Okay. But yes, is it awful that somebody who is in the know about themselves, who's in the know about their life experiences and so forth, who pretty much sees, that they're doing some shady stuff? Isn't it so bad, that they do this sort of thing to people, and they shouldn't because it's so wrong? Yes, but as long as people are willing to go along with anything and everything, they're going to continue to get away with it. The 20-some-year-old that was okay with the fact that the man was married, okay, So she goes along for the ride. She thinks that he's going to one day marry her. He doesn't. If anything, she finds out he's dating some other young women. Okay. She went along with the program. He was bold. He told her, this is how it is. The older woman says to the younger man, I've got a lot of baggage. I've got some kids. Oh, that's okay. I'll be a father to the kids. I'll take care of you. Okay. Now, you know that there's a lot that you're going to be expected to do. It's all right with me. Then he starts feeling like it's too much. He feels overwhelmed. He starts talking about, I don't have to put up with this. I am not these kids' daddy. Excuse me. You see? Know what you're getting yourself into, and understand as well as respect the fact that others are going to know more than you. 20 something years older than you, 30, 40 some years old. They're going to know some things. It doesn't necessarily mean that what they know is all that right, but they know some things. And what you have to do is guard your heart. The Lord showed me in the spirit. He says, guard your heart and don't allow these individuals to take advantage of you. Don't feel like you have to do things because they're older than you, or, you need to go along with the program because, well, he has a lot of experience. And even though he doesn't respect you, you should still, stick around and respect him. I mean, the Lord has showed me so many different things when it comes to elders, okay, when it comes to our seniors. And it's sad that, to see them over time start to lose their minds, to not be as strong as they once were and all of that. It's sad to see that. But at the same time, you start to see all of the stuff unravel, the games that they played over the years on people, the games that they're still playing. You start to see how they were, lying and manipulating and exaggerating, how they built up their false fronts and they had people believe one thing when they were really this way and that way, but it's a beautiful thing, though, when you're walking with the Lord, because you're no longer caught up in the traps. You're no longer believing anything and everything that comes out of the mouths of some of these people. And it doesn't matter what their title is in your life. I have to keep coming back to that, because if you esteem that title more than the truth, you're going to be one of those that's going to be grieving heavily. You're going to be one that's going to possibly fall apart, because you were enamored with the title, with their position, with the power, with who they knew, and you didn't look at the man for who he really was, or the woman for who she really was. So sometimes a lot of these people lose their loved ones and they grieve harder because they don't want to face the truth. They were too busy believing in the illusion, in the fantasy that individual put in front of them. And trust me, mature-minded people know how to create characters for all sorts of settings. That's another thing I witnessed over the years. They can turn into the sweet, docile, innocent person with this group, then go outside and be, this person who is, very powerful and, has charisma and can win respect and all this other stuff, right? And then be a tyrant to the little kids. You see, mature-minded folks, they know how to play all sorts of characters for different settings. And when you are young and you don't quite understand why they're doing all of what they're doing, you tend to be quite confused, and you might even buck up against their little system. I don't want to deal with this. I don't have to put up with this. No, you along for the ride because you agreed to it. You wanted what I had, so this is what you got to put up with. I told a young woman who said she wanted to be married, and preferably to an older man. She knew I had experience, okay, over the years dating older men and being married to older men. And so she says to me, she goes, I want to, be married, and I want this and I want that. I said, the population, for wealthy men, that is, it's not very large. And the likelihood of you meeting somebody of the caliber that you want, especially on the internet, that's highly unlikely unless you go to a specific website that tailors to the type of men that you're looking for. Okay. And then she started telling me about all of the things that she wasn't going to put up with and all the things that she would put up with and all that. And I told her, I said, let me tell you something. The bigger the ring is that you get that one day, when you finally do decide to get married, I said, the bigger that ring is, all that tells me is the more stuff you got to put up with. And she said, I never thought of it that way. I said, let me tell you, the bigger the ring is, the more stuff that you got to put up with. And many of you all who have been married or are currently married, you know that you had to go through a lot in order to get that ring on your finger. You see? Now, if you got a little ring, you may not have had to deal with too much that the woman who got, crazy diamonds on her hand had to put up with. But either way, you had to put up with something and you had to give up something too. And that's the other factor that a lot of the immature folks versus the mature folks don't realize, is that you are going to have to give up something sooner or later if you want to keep that mature minded individual in your life. Because as long as there's a whole crew of other people that's willing to do, guess what? He gonna go or she gonna go after those if there is no emotional bond, there is no connection to you, you see. And they don't feel like it is a worthwhile connection. That's what they're going to do. They're going to say, well, who else is out there? Who could fulfill me in a way that this one isn't? Another thing I realized too, and I'm going to close out the message very shortly, but one thing I realized too is that some of these mature-minded people, they have a way of categorizing people, where this one gives me a mental stimulation. This one gives me a physical stimulation. This one provides for me financially. This one takes care of my spiritual needs, you see. So they have these different circles of people that feed them in different ways. And so if you don't quite understand social circles, haven't had enough friends to understand, the different functions that they play in your life, to you feel on the outside looking in, you feel like, wow, he's using a lot of folks or she's using a lot of folks, when it doesn't have to be that. It could be healthy, healthy connections. It doesn't have to be that this one's sleeping with this one and this one's, messing around here, there, and everywhere. Sometimes it's not even that. It's just that they have some, friends and coworkers and acquaintances and a number of different people that serve different functions. And a insecure, irresponsible, immature type of individual in a mature person's life is going to be a hindrance. Because they're going to say, well, who is this person? And, what's going on here? And, I want this and I want that. And why are you always giving to this group and that group? And, you're always out and about and they just are all over the place. And mature-minded people who are successful, who are upwardly mobile, who are doing great and mighty things, they don't need insecure, ignorant, immature types of individuals in their life. And so, this is what happens in a lot of these age gap relationships that end on a bad note. One person's mature and the other person's immature, or both of them were immature, but then eventually one of them became mature, looked around and said, what did I just do? Okay. And once the blinders come off, which a lot of the mature minded don't want blinders to come off of folks who are around them, that person is free. That person is ready to walk, you see. And sometimes the mature minded, they know going into these connections that sooner or later she going to wake up and see me for who I really am. Sooner or later, he's going to wake up and see that I'm not this young, beautiful woman, that I'm really old and I'm bitter and I'm tired. And they're going to try for the longest to make sure that you only see, as I said earlier, what they want you to see. But like I said, when it comes to walking with the Lord, God will take the blinders off your eyes if you want that. Some people don't want it. They're not ready for it, they say. But I will tell you that over the years, I have prayed those kind of prayers. I asked the Lord, reveal to me what it is that you want me to know concerning this person that I'm with. What is it that I should be doing, to make my life easier, to fulfill me, to give me the joy, to give me the peace. Lord, I need you right now in this situation. I feel like I'm being played. I feel like I'm being used and abused. When I started praying those kind of prayers and I was asking the Lord for deliverance, and I no longer wanted to see illusions and fantasy, and I wanted to see reality and truth, that's when I will tell you that God just started really working with me, and he continues to do this, so that I am no longer blindsided by folks, so that I'm no longer that gullible one, right? That one that thinks that you can buy people's love and affection and stuff, okay? So that I would no longer be that individual that was, hoping and wishing for something that somebody couldn't give me, okay? So be encouraged. Know that God is with you, that what you see is really what you see with a lot of these individuals, and don't dismiss your gut feeling, your truth, don't dismiss their truth when they're telling you boldly who they really are. You do have a right to make a decision whether or not you want that person in your life. Okay? So to God be the glory. Thank you once again for listening to A Bit of Wisdom. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Please subscribe today. And also check the description box for anything of interest, especially those books I mentioned. Tell Me Mother You're Sorry, Know Your Enemy, The Christian's Critic, Say Goodbye to Dad. All three of them have a specific theme, but they all go back to one major point. And that major point is that there are those manipulators out there, okay, that are going to try to break you down spiritually, mentally, as well as physically. Don't let them. Well, that's it. To God be the glory. Have a great day.